The Torah tells us about Amalek's attack in two places. One is in Beshalach, in the parsha of Vayavo Amalek, which we read on Purim, and the other one, of course, is the parsha of Zachor, which in Mitzvah Hashem we're going to read this Shabbos from Parshas Kiseitze. In Parshas Beshalach, the Torah immediately precedes the story of Amalek's attack with the parsha of Masa Meriva, where Klal Yisrael complains, and in the course of asking for water, they also, the Torah tells us, they said, Hayesh Hashem b'kirbeinu im'ayin. They questioned to what degree HaKadosh Baruch Hu was actually among them. They questioned the degree of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hashkacha. And Rashi comments that Amalek's attack was as a result of that questioning, meaning Amalek didn't attack in a vacuum, rather because Klal Yisrael distanced themselves from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They questioned to what degree HaKadosh Baruch Hu was actually mashgiach them, therefore there was an opening for Amalek to attack. In Parshas Kiseitze, immediately before the parsha of Zachor, the immediately preceding parsha is the one of having honest weights and measures. To have an ephah shleima of tzedek, not to have deceitful weights. It's a toavas Hashem to have this incorrect weights in your possession. And Rashi comments that the reason why that parsha immediately precedes Zachor es asher tzadach Amalek is because we are susceptible to attack from Amalek when we are deceitful in weights and measures. So how could this be? In Parshas Beshalach, the immediately preceding parsha tells us that Amalek attacks when we distance ourselves from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when we question his hashkacha. And in Parshas Kiseitze, the Torah tells us that we are susceptible to attack when we are deceitful in business. How do these two go together? So Rav Wolbe and Ali Shur explains that the Rishonim demonstrate that the Isser of Eifah Shlema Vatzedek Yalach, the mitzvah really, to have honest weights and measures, goes beyond not using those deceitful weights and measures. Meaning, it's not only usser to measure something deceitfully and then cheat your customer, but it's usser even to possess those deceitful weights in the first place. It's usser to possess a scale which is off, even if you don't use it to cheat your customer. If you just weigh something on that scale, and then you know that the given price is incorrect, and you correct the price in your calculation and charge the customer the correct amount, you've still done something which is a toavas Hashem. Okay, the question is, why is that a toavas Hashem? What's so bad about that if at the end of the day the customer is not losing out? And even with this understanding, how does that relate back to the parsha in Beshalach? How is that connecting the two events that precipitate the attack of Amalek? So the answer is, I think, that when a person weighs something deceitfully and then goes ahead and charges the customer the correct price, what's happened is that on the one hand, he was pulled in the direction of cheating his customer. Right? He went ahead with an action that could lead him to cheat the customer, and he's interested in doing so, but at the end, he corrects himself. So he thinks, it would be nice to cheat this guy and make an extra buck, but, it would be the wrong thing to do. It would be good, but it would be the wrong thing to do, so I won't do it. That thought process demonstrates that a person is somewhat distant from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because ideally, we are supposed to be thinking in line with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not only acting in line with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but thinking in line. That our ratzon itself, that which we think is good, that which is appealing to us, is defined by what is good to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So even possessing a weight and measure is a to'eva, because it means that a person is swayed in the direction of doing something against Ratzon Hashem. It would be appealing to make extra money deceitfully. So the Torah tells us we're open to the attack of Amalek when we build a gap, chas v'shalom, between our ratzon and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ratzon. When our ratzon is pulling us in the direction of cheating a customer, and it's only the realization that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't like that pulls us back, there's a gap. And that gap makes us susceptible to attack. Rather, what we must do is align our ratzon with HaKadosh Baruch Hu's. That what's appealing to us, what's good for us, is to be honest in our business. So too, in Masa Meriva, when Klal Yisrael questioned the HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hashkacha, they were opening up a gap they were asking, is HaKadosh Baruch Hu really directing us? Is he really with us? It would be the equivalent, perhaps, of how is that question building a gap? It was the following mashal, I think. Imagine a husband who asks his wife, what do you think love is? Right? That question, just asking the question, is building a gap, because the wife is going to say, what do you mean? You're asking what love is? Don't you feel it right now? Don't you feel something towards me? Isn't that love, what you feel? By asking the question itself, the husband is revealing that he doesn't feel it. He doesn't align himself totally with his wife. And that's why he's asking this theoretical question of, what do you think love would be like? And the question itself demonstrates the gap between he and his wife. Klal Yisrael, right before Amalek attacked in Parshas B'Shalach, they asked, is HaKadosh Baruch Hu really with us? And the very fact they were asking it meant they didn't feel his presence close to them. They didn't understand that his ratzon and their ratzon were aligned. And therefore their ratzon, their inner desires, were not aligned with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Which is the same as the person who has the dishonest weights and measures, who is demonstrating that what he wants is not really what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. And it's only perhaps his fear of punishment which is going to convince him at the end not to cheat his customer. So we see from these two parshios that Amalek is going to attack us when we build a gap, when we divide ourselves from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when our ratzon is not aligned with him. Klal Yisrael, while they were still in Refidim, they did teshuvah. Rashi tells us in Parshas Yisro, Vayisum Refidim vayavo midbar Sinai, that just like when they came to Midbar Sinai, they had done teshuvah, so too when they left Refidim, they already done teshuvah. The teshuvah that Klal Yisrael did after Amalek attacked, before they went to Har Sinai to be Mikabel the Torah, was the teshuvah of realizing that we need to align ourselves with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Our ratzon is purely to do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. So too, in the time of Mordechai and Esther, in the Nes of Purim, Klal Yisrael aligned themselves with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kimu v'kimu ha'Yehudim, they're Mikabel the Torah me'ahava. They realized that, in their tzara, they realized that all they wanted to do was to align themselves with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mitzvah Hashem, this Shabbos, we have Shabbos Zachor, and Mitzvah Hashem, next Shabbos, we'll be coming off the hills of Purim, and it's the ideal time, as we listen to the leading Parshas Zachor, and leading into the week of Purim, for us to realize that tzaros come about when we distance ourselves from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when we're not aligned with Him. And Purim is a day of aligning our ratzon with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Adol Yada, whether one drinks or not, the yesod is for a person to realize that he's kol kulo committed, 100% devoted to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he wants nothing else other than Kivras Elokim in the sense of wanting only what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, and not being persuaded in one direction, only to come back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but meirosh, to make our decisions based on what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. With Hashem, we should use this season of Parshas Zachor and Purim to come back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu.